We begin this morning with the latest developments in the deadly kidnapping of 4 Americans in Mexico.
2 of those Americans, Latavia Washington McGee and Eric Williams, are now back on U.S. soil. McGee was not hurt in the attack. Williams was shot in the leg. They were rescued yesterday in Matamoros, 4 days after gunmen opened fire on their vehicle. They were kidnapped just after crossing the border from Texas. 2 others in the group are dead. They have been identified by family members as Shaid Woodward and Zindel Brown. Now, the state where this happened, the governor said an innocent Mexican bystander was also killed in the attack. And now this morning, families of the victims are speaking out about the harrowing ordeal. NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber joins us from Lake City, South Carolina. That is where the victims are from. Ellison, good morning. So what are the latest details we have on the rescue? And do we know at this point, was this a case of kidnapping for ransom?
At this point, authorities in Mexico say they believe this was a case of mistaken identity. The attorney general for the state where this happened in, Tamaulipas, that's where the city of Matamoros is located. He says that this appears to be a situation where you had this group of Americans crossing into Mexico at about 9:18 a.m. He says 2 hours later, that's when their van came under fire. They say that after they were all forced into the back of that pickup truck, then they were moved to a number of different locations. Authorities in Mexico say they believe that what was happening in each of those movements was that the kidnappers were trying to confuse rescue efforts and create a bit of a distraction. So they kept moving them until they were found in this wooden cabin. Again, though, they are saying at this point in time, they are still investigating. One person was arrested who was reportedly guarding the area where they were being held. But in terms of the motivations behind what initially took place, they say it seems like this was simply a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. This state of Mexico, it does have a very high travel warning from the State Department. It's listed as do not travel. And the reason the State Department gives for that is they say because there's a risk of high crime in this area and also kidnapping. Joe.
So, Ellison, we are also hearing from family members of the victims this morning. What are they saying?
Yeah, our colleague Gabe Gutierrez spoke to the wife of Eric Williams. He was the one who was reportedly shot in the leg. According to Mexican authorities, he is recovering in the hospital. His wife confirmed that she spoke to him as he was heading into surgery. Here's more of what she told Gabe.
I didn't know anything until Sunday morning. When the FBI came, everything just seemed so surreal to me. I am very happy that he's alive, but I'm also heartbroken for the other families who can't say the same.
The mayor of this city, Lake City, confirmed that all 4 of the victims here had ties to this community. This has been described as their hometown. Family members have told NBC News that all of them were childhood friends and that one of the 4 was going to Mexico for an elective cosmetic procedure, and the others, a cousin and friends, went with them so they could share driving responsibilities along the way. This is a community watching this very closely and certainly grieving, and we expect there to be a vigil sometime later this evening. Joe?
And Ellison, I mean, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland spoke yesterday, blamed the deaths on drug cartels. Let's listen to that.
Cartels are responsible for the deaths of Americans. And we are fighting as hard as possible. The DEA and the FBI are doing everything possible to dismantle and disrupt and ultimately prosecute the leaders of the cartels and the entire networks that they depend on.
And Ellison, I mean, we know the area is home to the notorious Gulf drug cartel. I mean, do we have any idea at all if that group was behind the kidnapping?
So we don't know specifically which group was behind it at this point in time. Mexican authorities, U.S. officials, they have said they believe this was carried out by a cartel group. You mentioned the one in particular that is known, well known in this area. Sinaloa cartel also has activity activities that take place in this area. Mexican authorities have said they are still in the process of investigating this and trying to figure out exactly who played a role in this and arrest them, bring them to justice. But for now, the only information we have about the alleged abductors or people tied to it is that Mexican authorities say they arrested a 24-year-old who was watching guard over the four when they recovered them. Joe.
All right, Ellison, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.